Mark here from Desert Molding Concepts. We'd like to just kind of do an overview of the installation of our double down equalizer intake kit. Of course, the kit comes with everything you'll need for the installation: clamps, hoses, our intake adapters, filter cartridges. There's a couple critical things about drilling the box first. The measurements are very critical from the bottom corner of this edge up 1 inch, and from the corner of the box over 1 15/16. All right, for the 1 15/16, you're going to simply put the ruler to the corner of the box, and you're going to measure in 1 15/16 and make a line. And then from the bottom edge of the box where the radius stops and you can sit the ruler more or less flush, you're going to measure up 1 inch and make a mark. Intersect those lines, and that's going to be your center point for drilling the hole. So you always want to double check by putting the adapter down over your center and finding it and making sure it's going to sit flush as possible on the box. We know it's slightly radius, but this is the flattest part of the box and centers it so we can put all the hoses on. So as you can see here, we have clearance all the way around. When you're ready to put the adapters in, you want to put a good bead of silicone all around the back side of the insert, and then install it from the inside, pressing it as flush as possible, leaving the excess silicone there to set up. Then of course finish the outside with the small bead. These have set and they're in there completely. They're not going anywhere. So it's important to let the silicone set up absolutely completely before you do the rest of the installation, or you can break that seal loose. But these are really in there. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the rest of the installation. Well, you can see we've already cut our holes for our intake adapters in the wall of the bed. And you can see here that there's a small bump out and a flat spot at the edge of the plastic panel. So that's where you'll be taking your 2-inch measurements in and out, and then you'll be measuring from the bottom of this panel 3 7/8 inch. You'll be drawing a line horizontally and 2 vertically, and those will be the center of your 2 holes for cutting the holes for the intake adapter. Let's go ahead and pop those in real quick. Alright, so you've cleaned up the holes for the intake adapters and they're ready to go in, so you just simply pop them in place. Alright, so they're in place, so now we can start putting the hoses on. Alright, so we got the hoses and we're going to route them real quick. Bottom hose is going to go inside of the frame but low, and rest low here. And then the upper hose is going to route right underneath the bed body on top of the frame and run right next to the oil tank. So we'll just put that up in there. Slide right up in there, no restriction. Alright. So now we're going to go ahead and connect the hoses up to the intake adapters in the bed. So you've got the upper hose. It's going to go on the inside intake tube. So take a clamp, feed the hose onto the intake adapter. Now go ahead and tighten that down. Alright, so then you're going to want to go reach underneath and get the lower hose and bring it up. and put a clamp on it. put it on the outside adapter. And go ahead and tighten that one down. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to getting the lid installed. Alright, so now we're going to put the lid back on. First you want to get your filter back in there first. Box down in there. And clamp it down. Alright, and then you're going to want to work from the bottom up, starting with the lower intake tube. Go ahead and put a clamp on that one. Put it on the intake. Make sure you fit the hose all the way up against the box. Go ahead and tighten that down. Take the stock intake tube and put it back on. And go ahead and clamp it down. And then go ahead and put the upper intake on. Make sure it's seated all the way down. Tighten it up. Alright, and then to finish up here, we're going to take one large zip tie and tie everything together. Go ahead and place the zip tie just as close to the clamps as you can. Go ahead and snug that down. Doesn't have to be super tight, it's just to keep everything in place. There we go. Go ahead and cut that off. Now all we have to do is install the one zip tie to the lower duct and we'll be done. Alright, well here's the lower intake hose or duct. And we just want to zip tie it nice right into the radius. Make sure it's pulled away from the heat shield of the exhaust. Alright. Cut it off. And you're done. So basically now all you have to do is put the expansion cover for the oil tank, the bed lid, and your seat back in, and you're done. We'll talk to you soon.